Everybody, welcome to Afternoons with the Muldoon. Not the Muldoons today. The better half, Janice, is not with us today. She's not feeling great. But happy that you're all here. Just going to give a few seconds here for people to get their notifications to let them know that we're going live. Got a really great show here for you today. Really informative, very thought-provoking. And I think it's going to tick a lot of boxes for a lot of people because our guest today, Scott McGimpsey, which I'll talk about a little bit more, has a really powerful story about his own journey, but how he has taken adversity and tremendous challenge that he's had to face with and deal with head on in his life and turned that into something really remarkable that actually, serves other people at the highest level. And he's an incredible young man, and he is mission driven, which you're going to find out here. But just before we get into that and we invite Scott on, I hope that you're having a great week so far. And if you're listening in now, please do me a favor and type live in the chat on Facebook, or if you're watching the replay, just type replay. We'd love to hear from you. The engagement is so important because, it really, really helps us ensure that, the content that we're putting together, this Afternoons with the Muldoons, is something that is time well spent for you. Ashley, good to see you. Thanks for weighing in. The thing is, we want to hear from you. You tell us, what are the things that you're interested in that you would love to have us bring a guest on, or that you would, like to see us speak about, right? These are really important topics that we want to make sure that, is going to be of real value to you. Alexandra, great to see you. Ashley, Scott is your cousin. That's awesome. That's awesome. He's smiling in the back. I can see him here. So, that's great. So listen, we're going to crack on here, get started with our show today. Thanks for being here. Be sure to tell your friends, about Afternoons with the Muldoons, because we have a lot of local guests here, and, you can follow us here on Facebook at findingextraordinary.com. So it's just Facebook.com/Finding Extraordinary. Pretty straightforward. And obviously today's guest is Scott McGimpsey. And so without further ado, I want to bring Scott on, and I want to let you know a little bit about Scott. Scott is a health and lifestyle coach. He has a very holistic approach to everything from human needs psychology to your physiology to the relationship with yourself and the people around you. And I personally have known Scott since 2012, and I have watched the transformation and the dedication that he has put into his craft. And he is unwavering and relentless. And I'm so proud of him. In fact, he's a 2-time Personal Trainer of the Year recipient. I love it. So happy and so proud for him. So everyone, help me in welcoming Scott to Afternoons with the Muldoons.
Hello.
There he is. Hello, my friend.
How are we doing?
The house.
You all good?
Yeah, all good. Good to see you. Good to see you. I just want to say, hey, if you got any questions for Scott today, please post them in the comments, and we'll definitely get to them. So, Scott, welcome to today's show. It's great to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. And the introduction was amazing. Thank you. It's been a crazy journey. I just want to thank you first and foremost to you. You're a legend for all your support and all your guidance throughout the years. 2012, Jesus, 10 years? My math is terrible. Yeah. 10 years. Wow.
Close to 11 almost.
Oh man. What a journey.
Yeah. So, when you think about, the last decade since I first met you, where you were still finding your way. And, it's been a long journey, as it has been for Janice and I moving to Northern Ireland a little over 10 years ago and getting to know you. And I just wanted to say, for anyone that's listening in right now or watching the replay, please let us know live in the chat. Okay, type live or replay if you're watching the replay. But I just want to let you know that, like, when I first met Scott, I knew there was something about him straight away that I picked up on, and I went, this guy's meant to do something special, and I just knew it. And I spent a lot of time with him in the early days. We were renovating our first house and stuff, and he was living next door to us, and I got to know him, and I saw some really special qualities in him. And you know, I've had the opportunity to spend some time with Scott and supporting him, and trying to just give him the support that we all need throughout our lives when we're trying to you know, just give meaning to our life and do things in our lives that really matter. And Scott is an example of that. So Scott, it's been like a 10-year journey since I've known you, but why don't you tell our viewers today a little bit about, you know, what was going on in your life, some of the trials and tribulations, like I said, some of the tremendous challenges and adversities that you've had to face, like it or not. And, you know, I just want to say from a coaching perspective right now, like it or not, you know, this is where you'll hear from Scott. He had the opportunity and even explored it to go down the dark side and just say, fuck it to everything. Excuse my language, but I got to be descriptive here. Or to say, hang on, maybe there's a better way. Maybe there is actually something here more for me. So I turn it over to you, Scott.
I guess, like, thinking back to 10 years ago when, so whenever you knew me, I was your next door neighbor. And at that time, I had just came out of foster care, and the house that I was in was like, it was almost like a halfway house. So it was like bridging the gap between being fully in foster care to then learning the skills, how to budget and all that kind of stuff, how to clean and be an adult essentially. And yeah, I guess at that time that was a really, it was a testing time. It was really time for me to grow up. I had no safety net anymore. I had to manage my own money. I had to learn how to be an adult at 16, and make sure that the decisions that I was making was going to have a positive impact on my life. For so many years, like before that, like being in children's homes and foster care and stuff like that, like it was tough. It was really, really trying. But I always knew that I had staff there for support. So whenever you knew me, I just didn't have that. Well, I had support in a really minimal sense, but it was where my growth really started. So I had to start thinking as an adult, even before moving into that accommodation. For those of you who don't know me, and haven't seen my story on social media, you can head on over to any of my social media platforms and see that. But 4 years old, my mom and dad, they were alcoholics. They couldn't look after me. In foster care from 4 to 16. And yeah, it was throughout those years, it was very, very tough. You know, you went through the stages of being bullied, you know, saying you were a certain religion in an estate, getting, you know, beat up every single day, picked on for being an orphan. You know, all these different kinds of things happened. And in my view, the view that I have on it now, looking back, is that's the cards that I was dealt. And at that time, I used anger as a way to protect myself. So using anger helped me keep people away, because I didn't like to, not that I didn't like to, but I didn't have the words to be able to say what I was feeling. So I just acted out. So that then helped, that then had a really negative impact in me forming relationships. I felt alone. I felt like the world was out to get me. Everything was just horrible at that stage in time, that period in time. And there was one foster care there who I always give a shout out to, and she shaped who I am today. Honestly, that woman is an absolute magician in what she does, and her selflessness is incredible. And it was her who taught me the values that I still walk through life now. So being, you know, hardworking, never giving up on yourself, knowing that you have a higher purpose and you're on this planet for a reason. That's why I was able to then move through. And although I made a lot of mistakes and there was a lot of adversity against me, I was able to come out the other side knowing that I had a purpose of helping people. And that's exactly what we do on the Bend Don't Break program today.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So do you want to give a shout out who this lady is?
I don't know if she's going to let me. She's a very private woman, but just know that if you're watching this in the replay, you know exactly
Okay.
who you are. And thank you from the bottom of my heart.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I wanted to ask you, myself, growing up as a child, came from quite a volatile environment, a lot of abandonment and things like that. And, there was alcohol and the whole thing. And so I can relate to those feelings of uncertainty and not really having those mentors and those role models in your life that you needed and that, sadly you missed out on. But, what would you say to people today who have fear, that are saying, well, yeah, what if it doesn't work out? What if I commit to doing something to improve my life and nothing seems to get better? Maybe I'm just better off staying where I'm at right now, because at least I know what I've got.
I actually, on the program we do, that's called a weekly tune up, and I covered this yesterday. You should have been on the tune up, Brian. But what is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that you fail. And if you fail, then you learn something. But if you give your absolute all and you demand the absolute best of yourself, then you can't lose. There's nothing there that, if you go into a fitness journey, if you go into a self-development journey and you give it your absolute all and you do end up failing, then you haven't lost, because you've put yourself out of your comfort zone. You've put yourself in that positive mindset to be able to be like, do you know what? I'm going to try it. And most people, they don't even try. And that's the people who lose out, is the people that spend more time thinking rather than doing. And in the last quarter of the year in the Bend Don't Break program, that's exactly what we're doing. We're spending more time on the do and less time in the think.
Yeah, I love that. So speaking about your program, health and lifestyle, and I talked earlier about, how your program is very holistic. And what I mean for everyone listening is, typically, obviously Scott, two-time trainer, personal trainer awards. I mean, Scott is a product of the product. Okay. Like, you don't have to look any further than what you see online of Scott. He dedicates himself, at an amazingly high level consistently. He is the product of the product. But when we think about, personal trainers, we think, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. Someone's going to whip my ass into shape and make me, do things that my body just doesn't want to do. And that's fine. And that's, those are the challenges. We know that with resistance, there's also growth. Like people say, if you want to see what somebody's really made of, drop the bar, and meaning the weights. And so with your program, yours is very different in that you have an entire coaching element that really dives into our psychology, into our emotional state. It's not just give me 20 reps or whatever. It's very much ticking all the boxes. So tell us a little bit about that coaching aspect and what drew you to that and why that's such a big part, an essential part of what you offer to your clients.
I guess, as you said, the fitness side of it is a tool that I use. That is one tool that I have in my toolbox to help people transform their lives. But looking back at my life, the people I want to help are the people who are struggling, who have those challenges, setbacks, and struggles right now, who at a certain point in time are the same as what I have been through. So yes, fitness played a massive part in me transforming my life, but there was also the support there. There was also the education there. There was also the ability to give myself space. And it was those things paired with giving myself not a distraction, but like a driving force to know that I'm in control of something in my life. I'm in control of showing up to the gym. I'm in control of what I eat. I'm in control of who I speak to. I'm in control of what I read. it's gaining back that control. And the fitness side of it is one way in which we test people, but we also teach people to understand what not only their body's capable, but what their mind is capable. So we teach them to think big and act small, but we teach them to act small in many different areas of their life. So what are they doing to allow themselves to have that awareness? Do they have that awareness of why they do what they do? It's that old story about going to the doctors and you have an ailment and he treats the ailment rather than the situation that happened to cause that ailment. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I like to dive deeper into why people are thinking the way they think. We use NLP, we use CBT, and it's a way of getting people, asking people the questions, we call them power questions, about how do we change the narrative and flip the switch off from the I am to the I can, or the I can possibly do. It's taking people from that level of consciousness, which may be really, really low, of like guilt, shame, fear, regret, whatever it may be, to take them to a place of possibility is so much more. There's so much more work in it and so much more work involved than just me going and saying do 3 sets of 8 on X, Y, and Z exercise. So that's why we support people to the best of our possible ability across all planes of our life, because that's what's missing. And that's why we're able to pick up 2 awards in 1 year, because we do dive deep. We do care about our members. We do want the best for them, and we give them exactly what they need when they need it. And we do it to the best of our ability.
Amazing. So, I've put a link into the chat. If you want to go on to Facebook, there's a link there to follow Scott and his private group there, Bend Don't Break. I'm not sure if that's an open group, or you can find Scott McGimpsey on Facebook and follow him there personally. But, you talked about just really helping people in all the different ways that you do. And by the way, if you have any questions for Scott, just drop them in the chat and we'll get to them. So one of the things that I have found in the years that I've been coaching and consulting with individuals and with organizations is it takes people a long time to do very little. And all right, Scott, you got your handle in there for Instagram. Okay, so it takes people a long time to do very little. And what I've found is people get a little freaked out when they're asked to step up a little bit, to, like, in other words, commit. I find like sometimes people are apprehensive to follow through on that with themselves. They're like, yeah, no, I know I need to. I'm going to give them a call here next week, or yeah, I've been thinking about that and I really should. And, obviously with the end of the year coming, people make their New Year's resolutions, and lo and behold, the commitment, the dedication, the agreement, the promises all sort of fall to the wayside. So what is there anything you would like to say or share with anyone out there who's maybe on the fence? Like, I know I need help, because I just want to say, everyone, raising your hand and saying I need help with this is actually a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. And it also shows that you're ready. But, what would you say to someone, like I said, who's sitting on the fence right now? They know they could be doing more. They know they should be doing more, but there's a fear. Like, what if I commit to this? It's going to require a lot of hard work, and I'm just, because they're maybe in a rut and they're caught up in some old habits and patterns.
You could go with the cheesy line of everything starts at the end of your comfort zone, but that's not what I'm all about. I know it's hard. I know better than anyone that it's hard to change your life and come out of habits, coming from smoking, drinking, drugs, everything that you can think of. What my advice would be is, my question first would be, are you trying to keep yourself in a place of safety right now by not committing, by having that fear of failure, or that question going through your head of what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does? And that idea of safety has got you've operated from a place of maybe scarcity or fear or struggle or setbacks for so many years. And you may have family there that you that depend on you, or you depend on them? So my question to you is, coming up to the end of the year, are you going to wait another year to demand the very best from yourself? Or are you going to make a small step to get up a really, really big mountain, but you're going to do it with the support of, I don't know how many, we got like 36 people behind you, plus a coach who's been through what you've been through. We have members there who 6 months ago were sitting in the exact same spot as you, scared, overwhelmed, and going back and forth in their head. The amount of people that I message, they're like, yeah, I'll do it. I just have to ask my partner. Or, I'm scared if I fail. What if you don't? What if you don't fail? What if this is the step that you need to make to completely change your life? And do you not owe it to yourself to demand a little bit more from yourself so that you can be the best person for not only yourself, but your children, your colleagues, your friends, the people around you? You only get one chance on this earth. So it's the short time that you spend on yourself, doing the best that you can, and that is all that you can do. And my question to you would be, are you doing your best right now? And if not, that's okay, because now you have the awareness that you're not doing it. And just know that I'm here at the other end of a Instagram message or a Facebook message or a phone call to help you. That is the sole purpose of why I'm on this planet, to be a good father and to help the people who really need it.
That's great. That's great. I really love the way that you explained that. And, if you're on the fence, like, reach out to Scott, give him a phone call, reach out to him on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn. I mean, he's on these platforms. He's posting all the time. Don't be afraid to raise your hand, because as Scott said, on the other side of that might be everything that you need most in your life right now. And I get it. It's hard to get out of our comfort zone. It's easier to settle for the things that are just within our reach, within our grab, to take 200 or 300 pounds or more per month and throw that at eating out, going out for nights out, all that sort of stuff, buying stuff to try and fill a gap that doesn't really last anyway, versus taking that money and investing something in yourself that's going to give you a result that you're going to be so proud of. I have witnessed and seen Scott's results. If you go on to his pages, you'll see the transformations that regular, hard-working, everyday people are experiencing, whom, as he said, were scared. They were apprehensive. It seems like a big mountain that I'm going to have to climb, as Scott said. But it just starts with one small action, because it's all little small things that lead to big things, as Scott has been talking about today. And so the first step, all you need to do is just reach out, get in touch with Scott. I'll tell you right now, you will be challenged to find someone who really brings everything that he has to his clients. I don't mind saying, and I can say, because it's my show, Scott is the real deal. Scott is, someone who is on a mission. And I'm sure everyone who's watching right now, whether you're watching live or in the replay, can hopefully see that I said earlier, this guy's the product of the product. There's no gray area here. Okay. This is not a guy who's super fit and then going out and clubbing on the weekends. Of course, not to say he doesn't go out and have some fun. We all have to have a little variety in life. That's the spice of life. What I am saying, he knows his priorities, his daughter, and being the best father that he can be, and serving people at the highest level with everything that he has in his toolkit. And so with that said, Scott, I remember when COVID hit and we were all faced with this tremendous tidal wave of uncertainty. We were told to stay indoors. At that time, you had you were training in the gyms and you're really building out your program. And I watched you pivot, right? I watched you go, well, this isn't how it ends. I got to diversify. I have to adapt to my environment, and I got to figure this out. And you did, although I know it was scary, but you went on online as many people did, like Joe Wicks and stuff like that. But you were on there every day, encouraging people. You showed up with the same attitude that you do every day. So, this has to do with that adversity that I talked about. Everybody faces adversity, but how did you frame that adversity for you to keep you going to where you are today with a really great, thriving business that you've built off the back of, just hard work and dedication?
I guess for me, I like to know how I can outperform myself. And the Scott that sits in front of you today is 10 times better than the Scott a week ago, than the Scott 6 months ago, than the Scott 10 years ago. And for me, I knew that obviously it was a really trying time for everybody. Businesses closed, people didn't come back, but Bend Don't Break stood the test of time. And that is down to me knowing exactly what my North Star and my purpose is. My daughter, my members. That's it. I needed to find a way to make sure that people sitting in their house that were struggling, that were scared about bills, scared about money, exactly the same situation that we're in right now, knew that there was going to be a positive in their day. And because they had that positive in their day, they were able to have that little bit of, yes, it was live workouts and it was seminars and stuff like that, but it was the ability to allow that person to open up a line of communication to me, to allow me to then help them. Because just because we have these short-term challenges, we got to learn how to play the long game. And once we're able to get our mindset into, okay, there's a wall in front of me. Do I climb it? Do I go around the side of it? Or do I just go fucking through it? You have to have that mentality. But what happens is people get so caught up in listening to the news, going on social media with all this negative stuff on. They're just fired with negativity all the time. And I'm not here about all the toxic positivity either, but how do you think that people got through really, really trying times? They got through it with help. They got through it with hope. We got through it with inspiration. And I wanted to be that inspiration to people. So we were able to grow. I can't remember the exact numbers of the clients I was coaching. I was maybe coaching like 20 people one-to-one before COVID. And then obviously everything got shut down. So we took it online and I was like, shit, okay, what am I going to do? I had that panic station. I had that short term being like, oh, I have no idea how I'm going to pay my bills, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to live, how I'm going to survive. So what we did was I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do everything for free. I don't care if people think I'm nuts. I'm going to offer as much free stuff as I can. So we did free workouts, nutrition plans, training, seminars, live group calls. We did that all for free. And we were able to grow that Facebook group to 300 plus people. And what I found was people then appreciated it more because they knew that I was acting from a really genuine place. You'll see people coming and be like, oh, I just really want to help. And they'll try all this mindset stuff, but they haven't lived it. I've been through the shit, and the amount of staff and foster carers and support workers that give me advice and me help in their downtime, in their free time, is exactly what I needed to do through COVID. So we offered everything for free. I worked security and I made sure that my bills were covered. And yeah, I ended up doing security. Then I worked on a COVID site. And yeah, I just tried to help as many people from a really genuine place. So the mindset is, yes, there's going to be challenges. The rising cost of living at the minute. You know, if you look back, you had the Great Depression, you had COVID, you had the war. Shit's going to happen, but it will also get better. So learn how to play the long game.
Yeah, that's like so important. I think that's great advice for anyone who, finds themselves in a place where they feel defeated. The bottom line is, Scott said, like, things are going to happen in our life. Shit's going to come at us that we didn't expect. But the difference between the people who really excel and grow and advance versus the people who retreat and look for a way out, or don't want to show up, is really down to, how you feel about yourself and your values and your standards and how you see yourself. And so, Scott, it might seem pretty obvious and it might seem like maybe a redundant question, but, you've faced challenge after challenge after challenge. And then you said, I'm 10 times the guy I was a week ago, 6 months ago, and that'll continue to happen. Was there a point for you where suddenly there was something in your life where you made that lateral shift, where you went from, fuck it, I'm done with this, I'm going there, but I'm going all the way there?
No, every day I think like that. Every day, coming through how I see my life and how someone else sees my life is very, very different. I see my life and all the events and all the situations that happened as normal because I don't know anything else. I look at a nuclear family of a mom and a dad and a brother and a sister, and I go, whoa, that's weird. But there wasn't a time, but it's success and growth doesn't happen in that one moment. You'll be told it is, and that's the big stories that you hear. But success is by showing up, knowing your worth, knowing that you have more to give. And yes, you have to break down to break through, but it's about knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing, knowing who you're doing it for. And I guess, like, if I'm to think of a pivotal moment, it was, my daughter obviously being born was a massive, massive part. But even then, I had a breakdown. So whenever my daughter was born, I had a complete mental breakdown. I had to take a break from her life. And I, again, had to have that breakdown to break through. I had to evaluate myself. I had to find out exactly who I was. I need to figure out the questions that I needed to ask myself to make sure that I would never go back to a place that was a really scary, scary place where people, they just didn't understand. And people probably don't understand you. They probably don't understand me. People have different perceptions of how people should and shouldn't live. And success is by 1,000 cuts, not just by one. When we think of growing ourselves, it's about showing up. It's about making sure that you're doing, we call them the daily basics. What are you doing every day to move yourself from point A to point A and a half to point B, right? And then eventually you never really get to the Z, but you learn more about yourself, and the growth that you develop is astronomical. But it's always learning. There's not one point there that I can pinpoint and go, do you know what? That's whenever everything changed for me. It was that short-term shift of, I need to do something good in the world, and then making short-term steps towards that. So yeah, I might have a different view on success than other people, but it doesn't happen overnight. It happens by showing up, by giving your best, by looking for the support that you need at the present moment in time. You name me like a successful footballer who you don't know what team they play for. It's all about team. It's all about the community. It's all about who you have around you at that present moment in time and on that journey. That's what's going to allow you to become successful and allow you to really demand more from yourself. You are the average of who you spend your time with, 5 people or something like that. I don't know the exact quote, but it's true.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And there's the saying, like, show me your friends and I'll show you your life, and that we always show up with who we believe we are until or unless we make the decision that we want to up our game. When we think about the idea of, working with a coach, I know that sometimes people go, well, I don't need somebody to take my watch off to tell me what time it is. There's some people that are not open to the idea of coaching. But if you think about it in this context, everyone, if you look at championship athletes, for example, if you look at championship teams, they all have coaches. They have coaches because coaches worth their weight have the ability to help people tap in to a bigger part of themselves that often they don't even realize is there. And I say, coaches worth their weight, there's a lot of people out there that I'm a coach, I'm a this coach, I'm a that coach. The thing with Scott, and yes, I'm shouting from the rooftops because this guy deserves to be recognized and acknowledged by as many people around the world as possible because he is worth his weight. Why? Because he has been in the fucking ditch more times than most people ever will be and faced adversities and challenges that would take most people down and have. But he didn't. He made a key decision in his life that he was going to become more. Not only was he going to become more, but he was going to be in the service of other people. As he said, my daughter, my members. And so, reach out to this guy because if you want to go next level fast, but also fire up your psychology and your self-awareness and your own identity with yourself, you're going to get that too. This is not just about lifting weights and getting cardio in. This is not, for you, those of you that are going to the gym and you're just showing up and doing your thing and you're not really getting the results. I'll guarantee you, it's not because you can't lift the weight. It's because there's something here that's not clicking properly. You're not really engaged and really connected to a bigger why. And Scott is the guy who can really help you bridge that gap and really have those transformational moments in your life where you have absolute clarity and certainty about what's possible for you and where you're going. And I just want to say, Scott, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to be here today. It goes without saying, I think you're a fantastic human being. And I think that the work you're doing is outstanding. And obviously, a 2-time Personal Trainer of the Year award says it as well. And guys, the link is in there in the comments. So go ahead, make sure that you get a conversation with Scott. Talk to him. If you got fears, you got apprehensions, even things outside of training. Trust me, this guy has got the skill to be able to help you get through it because he's walked the walk. He's not just talk the talk. Like I said, there's a lot of coaches out there that don't know shit, but this guy really knows what he's doing and he's on a mission to really help people. So I wanted to ask you just before we hop off, Scott, is there anything for you that is maybe something that is one of the most proudest moments in your life? Something that you're truly proud of?
There's many. There is many that, I'm proud of. Obviously, my daughter. My daughter is like everybody that comes in contact with me is like, she's your double. I'm like, well, God help her. But she is literally me when I was younger, and to be able to show her a different way of life and to be able to be that stable father figure for her is one of my proudest achievements, and she always will be. Hands down, there's no one that even comes close. I'm proud of what I've built. I'm proud of Bend Don't Break, and I'm proud of every single member that has came through the Bend Don't Break program, past, present, and those yet to come as well. I'm also proud of myself for what I have achieved and what I've came through in a not an egotistical way, but in a, you have to have that pride in yourself. If you don't have that pride, then you're not really connecting with yourself. But for me, it's about my proudest moment holistically is finding out exactly who I am, because that's hard to do. Most people, they don't know who they are, and it's only until you do that you can really serve the world in a way that is true to you, but is also going to have that positive impact on other people as well. There's so many people you ask, it's like, tell me about yourself. It's like, well, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a whatever. It's like, no, tell me about you, like not what you do, but who you are. And once you can figure out that, that's something to be really proud of, because that's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah. Wow. Well said. 100%. So true. So many people just don't really know who they are. They think they know who they are and they think they know what they want. Yet there's so many people that are very, very much in a place where they're not satisfied and not truly happy with their life and where they're at. And so, when's the book coming out?
Working on it. Or I was actually on LinkedIn the other day, and a publisher sent me a message. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, there's a
It'll
book in there
happen.
for sure, whether it be next year, next month, can't wait for it. But thanks so much, Scott. Really appreciate you being here today. And like I said, anyone that is wanting to make some improvements, make some changes, get their physiology together, get their psychology together, and really get the whole package, I really encourage you to reach out to my dear friend Scott here. He'll help you out.
Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate it. And all your kind words, honestly. I'm sitting here trying to hold back the tears. But thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, mate, it's all true. Like I said, you're the product of the product. So thanks everyone for being here. Afternoons with the Muldoons. Make sure you tell your friends. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Finding Extraordinary. If there's something you want to hear about, if there's a guest you'd like to have on, I see us bring on the program, or an expert to talk about something, like, let us know, because Afternoons with the Muldoons is actually all about you. We do this because we enjoy it. We do it for fun. We just, we need to have some feel good moments. We need to have moments like today where you get some insights and some perspective on things that you can be doing for yourself. It's all about personal growth and development and living your best life. And that's what this program is all about. So, we can't make this program work without you. So please take some time, participate. Like I said, tell a friend, invite a friend, let us know what you want. And like I said, when we end off here today, if you're live, put live. If it's replay, put replay. Scott, take care, mate. And I will see you soon.
Thank you so much, Brian. Have a great day.
All right. Take care, everybody.